Hey guys, welcome to video 1 of Elm Tutor's SAT Math Fundamentals series, an introduction to linear equations. So we're going to start off with this equation, y is equal to mx plus b. This is sometimes called the slope-intercept equation, sometimes just called the linear equation. It doesn't really matter what you're going to call it as long as you understand what's going on. Here, m represents your slope and b represents your y-intercept. So slope is a measure of how steep a line is, how fast you go up or down in a given interval of x. We can see in the graph over here, the green line has the highest slope because it's the most steep. The red line, it goes up the slowest, and so it has the lowest steepness and it has the lowest slope. If you want to calculate slope, you can use the equation shown in the upper left, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. You're going to need two different points in order to do this. If that's a little bit confusing, I like remembering it as rise over run. How much do you go up or down by between those 2 points, and how much do you go to the left or right by in those 2 points? So let's look at the red line, for example. I'm going to start off at the point 0, 0, and then go to the point 1, 1. Notice in between these 2 points, you go right by 1 unit and up by 1 unit. And so to get the slope, I'm going to do 1 divided by 1, which is just 1, so my slope is 1. For my blue line, I'm going to start off at 0, 0 again. I'm going to go up to the point 1, 2. Between these 2 points, I go right by 1 and up by 2. And so my slope is 2 divided by 1, which is 2. Notice I did 2 divided by 1. I didn't do 1 divided by 2. My change in y went on the top of my fraction. A very common mistake people make on the SAT is they do x divided by y, not y divided by x. So just be careful of that. For the green line, I'm going to start off again at 0, 0. I'm going to go up to the point 1, 3. For this one, I go to the right by 1, up by 3. 3 divided by 1 is just 3, and so my slope is 3. So if you want to see this in written form, looking at the blue line, I'm going to call the point 0, 0 as point number 1, and the point 1, 2 as point number 2. I could have done it the other way around also. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. So in terms of my equation y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, y1 here is 0, x1 is 0, and x2 is 1, y2 is 2. Plugging those in, I get m is equal to 2 minus 0 divided by 1 minus 0, which is 2 divided by 1, and so my slope was just 2. Another important concept is the idea of negative slope versus positive slope. So in both cases, I'm going to go from left to right. As I'm going to left to right in one case, my graph moves up, so my y increases. That is a positive slope. You can see in the other case, as I go from left to right, my y decreases, my graph goes down, and so that's a negative slope. And visually, it looks as you can see on these two pictures over here. So everything we just talked about was m, the slope. Now going back to y equals mx plus b, b represents the y-intercept. Where do we cross the y-axis? Or in other words, if x is equal to 0, what is y going to be equal to? For this purple line on this graph, we can see that our y-intercept, our value of y when x is equal to 0, is negative 1. For the black line, it's 1. And for the brownish line, it's 2. So once we have a slope and a y-intercept, that's enough information to graph a line. Let's say someone asks us to graph the line y is equal to 2x minus 2. I always start with my y-intercept. So in this case, negative 2. And so I go down 2 from 0. I have this point. And then my slope is 2x. My m is 2. So that means I go up 1, 2, and over 1. So this is my next point. And then you can just draw a vertical line in between those. And let's say they ask for negative 2x minus 2 instead of 2x minus 2. You would similarly go up by 2, but instead of going right by 1, you'd go left by 1, and that would be your point. So that's negative 2x minus 2. Now, they don't always give you the y-intercept, though. Sometimes they give you another point on the graph. And that's where this equation you can see on the screen right now, the point-slope formula, comes in handy. This is another equation you're probably going to want to memorize. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. I always found this a little bit confusing. So notice the y1 and x1 the ones with little ones next to them, those are what you plug in points into. The x and the y you leave alone. So to show you what I mean, here's an example. Let's say you're asked to find the equation of a line with a slope of -2 that goes through the point 2 comma -3. In that case, first I'm going to start off with my equation. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. I'm going to plug in that point and that slope. And so you can see I have y minus -3 is equal to -2 times x minus 2. Be careful of this -3. A lot of people also make mistakes when you have a negative. So minus -3 is going to come out to plus 3. So that simplifies to y plus 3 is equal to -2 times x minus 2. Y plus 3 is equal to -2x plus 4. I can subtract the 3 from both sides of the equation. And my final line is y is equal to -2x plus 1. Now our final case is going to be if instead of giving you a slope and a point or an intercept, they just give you 2 points. In that case, we have to combine the slope equation with the point slope equation. So in this example, let's say they ask us to find the equation of a line that goes through the points 1 comma -2 and 3 comma 4. So we're going to start off with the slope using the m is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 equation. Plugging in those points, you can see 4 minus -2 is equal to 3 minus 1. Again, notice that -2 minus -2 is the same as 4 plus +2. So that gives us 6 over 2, which simplifies to 3. Now I have a slope, and I can pick either of my 2 points to plug into. In this case, I picked the 3 comma 4 just because I didn't want to deal with the negative the -2. And so you can see I plug that in over there. Y minus 4 is equal to 3 times x minus 3. Y minus 4 is equal to 3x minus 9. And added 4 over there on both sides. And we get y is equal to 3x minus 5. So hopefully that all made sense. If there's any confusion about anything that I said or any further questions, please leave a comment or send me an email. And thank you, and hopefully you guys see our next video.